8 days remain before the U.S. and Iran's ceasefire expires, but a more permanent peace deal is still a long way off. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Tuesday, April 14th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. The temporary ceasefire between Iran and the U.S. remains on thin ice. Yesterday, the U.S. began blockading Iranian ports on an order from President Donald Trump. Analysts warned that the U.S. naval blockade could face serious military obstacles. The narrow strait forces U.S. warships into a confined channel where Iran's mines, missiles, and drones could diminish American military advantages. And the effectiveness of the blockade has already been undercut by Trump's move last month to lift sanctions on Iranian oil that's already at sea. That could generate $1 billion in revenue for Iran that it would not have seen if sanctions were still in place. Nevertheless, Trump's hope is that the added pressure will eventually force Iran's leaders to give in to his demand that their country will never have a nuclear weapon. The failure to reach a nuclear agreement was the key sticking point in weekend negotiations. According to people familiar, Vice President J.D. Vance, who headed up the U.S. negotiating team, offered a 20-year moratorium on all Iranian enrichment. Iran offered 3 to 5 years. Each country refused the other's offer. During his first term in office, Trump withdrew from a nuclear deal with Iran that the Obama administration negotiated in 2015. That now-defunct deal had included a 15-year moratorium on enrichment. President Trump is facing backlash for a Truth Social post appearing to depict him as Jesus. That's number 2. On Sunday night, Trump posted a screed against Pope Leo. He criticized the Pope as terrible for foreign policy and weak on crime. Shortly afterward, his account shared an image that appeared to be AI-generated in the style of a painting. It depicted Trump in a long white robe with a red cloak draped around his shoulders. In one hand was an orb glowing with light. Trump's other hand rested on the head of a man in what resembled a hospital bed. Light beamed from the man as Trump appeared to pray for his healing. The image sparked rare criticism of Trump from the religious right, prompting allegations of blasphemy. But Trump denied that the image was depicting him as Jesus.
I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support, and only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor.
Following the backlash, and after appearing on the president's Truth Social account for more than 12 hours, the image was deleted. Number 3. 2 House lawmakers say they'll leave Congress ahead of possible expulsion votes. Eric Swalwell is a California Democrat, and Tony Gonzalez is a Texas Republican. Yesterday, they both announced plans to leave Congress ahead of possible expulsion votes related to allegations of sexual misconduct. Swalwell faces accusations of sexual assault from a former staffer, first reported by the San Francisco Chronicle on Friday. Swalwell has denied that accusation, but acknowledged he had made some mistakes in judgment. Gonzalez is being investigated by the House Ethics Committee for having an affair with a staff member who later set herself on fire and died. Swalwell opted to step down rather than face a vote. He also suspended his campaign for California governor. Meanwhile, Gonzalez did not specify when he will retire, announcing only that he will file his retirement when Congress returns today. The departures of both lawmakers would mean the Republicans' narrow majority in the House remains unchanged if they leave the chamber at the same time. Number 4. Trump officials are considering a Fox News regular for a top vaccine post at the FDA. Houman Hamadi is an ophthalmologist and entrepreneur. He has expressed his support for many of the Trump administration's health decisions, including its move to narrow approval of COVID vaccines. and he was an outspoken skeptic of the federal government's pandemic response. Now, according to 3 people, he is being considered to serve as the nation's next top regulator of vaccines and treatments for complex diseases. If he's picked, Hamadi would replace Vinay Prasad. He is expected to leave the position at the end of this month after a tenure in which he oversaw controversial decisions about vaccine approval. The drug industry has mounting concerns about FDA operations. It relies on a predictable FDA so that it understands what it needs to do to win approvals for new treatments. Number 5. A powerful storm in the Western Pacific may be a concerning sign of what's to come. Super Typhoon Sinlaku is an atmospheric buzzsaw. As of yesterday, it was the equivalent of a Category 5 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 170 miles per hour in its core. Sinlaku is threatening Western Pacific Islands, including the U.S. territories of Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands. It's unusually early for a super typhoon in that part of the Pacific. Sinlaku could be a sign of a highly active season to come, fueled by a potentially strong El Niño climate pattern. El Niño leads to warmer water temperatures, which help air to rise, generating more and stronger storms. Cannabis may affect the brain in surprising ways. That's number 6. Data shows that the number of people using cannabis regularly has increased as more states have legalized its use and new marijuana products hit the market. The fastest growing group of cannabis users in the country is grandma, or specifically, adults aged 60 and over. According to a 2022 study, adults over 60 who started using did so for medical reasons, including to treat pain and arthritis, sleep disturbances, anxiety, and depression. Given this new trend of older people partaking, scientists want to know more about what firing one up repeatedly does to the aging brain. It may not be surprising that cannabis is linked to worse working memory, but not only can it affect your ability to retain information while you're using it, studies show heavy lifetime users can be worse at memory tests. Long-term use is also associated with changes in brain volume, depending when people start to use it. But it's not been linked to cognitive decline or higher dementia risk. Scientists say we need more research on that topic. And at number 7. The world's oldest gorilla turned 69 years old. Fatu is a Western lowland gorilla who has lived at Zoo Berlin for more than 6 decades. On Monday, she celebrated the Big 6'9" with a feast of vegetables and a shout-out from Guinness World Records. That's because she is the world's oldest gorilla in captivity. And perhaps anywhere, gorillas in the wild tend to live up to around 40. Legend has it that she was brought from Africa to France in the late 1950s by a sailor who then traded her to settle a bar bill. According to the zoo, Fatu would be over 100 in human age. Her eyesight is weaker, and she has arthritis, much like those toking human grannies. But she still enjoys time outside and is known among visitors for her dignified manner. A zoo spokesperson said that having a personal interaction with an animal like Fatu can drive home the importance of saving her species. All right, you're all caught up. For a look at Fatu and her vegetable feast, make sure you sign up to the 7 newsletter if you haven't already. It has all kinds of pictures and links to all the stories I talk about here on the podcast and more we can't get to. It lands by 7 a.m. Eastern every weekday morning, and it's totally free. Find a link to sign up in the show notes, or just Google the 7 newsletter from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.